Hello, and welcome back to another episode of A Blessing in Divorce. Today, I want to talk to you about something that is really near to my heart. It's really what I'm all about, and it's so tied into the experience that I had after my divorce. I want to talk to you about three ways to kind of shift your feelings, your way of being, your entire life really into a more happy feeling and vibration, energy. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of, people say, oh, my vibe, his vibe, her vibe, whatever, the energy, we hear about it all the time. But what does it mean and how does it apply to you? And how can you harness this? How can you tune into this? How can you, well, let's face it, what's the biggest question, or one of the biggest questions after our marriage ends is, how can I feel happy again? When will I feel happy again? Will I ever feel happy again? And this doesn't actually even just apply to people going through divorce. This applies to anyone who's going through a major life shift. So I know that whereas most of my listeners here are women who are going through divorce, and that's kind of who I'm talking to. But I'm also talking to those of you who might be experiencing a major shift in your life because of a move or a career change or the desire for a career change, or maybe just a new stage of life. For example, maybe you're becoming an empty nester post-divorce. That happened to me, and I know that was a major shift for me. Maybe that's happening at the same time. So either way, as we go through life, there are many shifts and changes, things that cause us to really reevaluate what's going on in our lives. And maybe these changes are making us feel really sad and really kind of struggling because we're being asked to let go of something that really matters to us, and we're being asked to change how we look at things maybe, and how to embrace a new way of life that right now you might be thinking, but I don't want new or different and shifting. I want what I had, whether that is the kids at home with you or your partner back or whatever. But you're being asked to change. It's there in front of you. There's nothing you can do about it. It's happening. So we kind of have two choices. We can embrace the change and the shift that we're being called to make, and elevate ourselves, rise to this new thing, this happier life that's available to us, because that is always available to you. Or we can get stuck in the past, which is where we often end up when we're feeling down. So if you have been feeling really down and stuck and still ruminating, dwelling on, suffering from, crying, whatever about the past, or you're feeling, okay, I'm feeling this need to shift, but I don't know how to do it. I just don't know how. And it feels uncomfortable because I feel like I'm going to be walking away from people, possibly your partner, your spouse, walking away from people that mean a lot to me. It could be friendships, could be just relationships that are challenging. It could be family. Anyway, if any of these things ring true with you or resonate with you, this episode is for you. So I welcome you to get on this little ride with me. I'm going to cover sort of three things, which probably have several subsections of things that you can do to navigate this growing feeling of, I need to move forward. I need to make a shift. I need to let go of the past. So let's talk about that. And before we jump in, I also want to ask you to stay to the very end, because I want to tell you about a new program I have. I haven't run a course in over a year, actually a year and a half. I used to run courses all the time and loved it. And so did my students. And then there was a shift, and I could just tell that there was something out of alignment. And in fact, when I tried to run my last course, I'll be really honest with you, I wasn't getting the signups that I needed, so I didn't run it. And I haven't run the course since. I could just tell that that wasn't what was being asked for of me. That wasn't what you needed from me. But it's shifting again, and the requests are coming back, and I just know that many of you are looking for that place to get the guidance and to kind of step into this change with additional help and guidance and coaching and community and all of those things. So whereas I'm going to touch on tools today, this is an invitation to go deeper. So I just ask you to stay to the end where I can tell you a little bit more about it. This literally has come to me over the weekend. It's in the works. So hang in there, and let's talk first about how you can make some changes right now and how you can embrace the shifts that are happening in your life right now. And then we will talk more about other tools that I can offer you at the end. So let's do this. Hello and welcome back to another episode of A Blessing in Divorce. I am so grateful to be allowed into your headset and day today. My name is Elizabeth and I'm the host of this podcast and the owner and founder of the Separation Club, which is the club you never wanted to be part of, but the best club to be in if you're going through separation and divorce. Here we talk about how to heal, move forward, and find love if you're so inclined. Also, motherhood through divorce, finding yourself, and creating the life you deserve. Our tools are community, sisterhood, honesty, vulnerability, spirituality, and coaching. And that's when we aren't talking to our experts. I'm also a divorced mother of 4 adult sons, remarried, and a stepmom to 3. So we will be talking about everything that goes with all of that here. If you are recently separated, thinking of separating, divorcing, or even beyond your divorce, but still feeling it, then this is the podcast for you. Welcome back. So whether you are feeling down because of divorce or something else in your life, as I mentioned, this episode is really here to help you raise that feeling, to step out of the icky, sort of painful, toxic victim mentality feelings, whatever, and raise your energy, raise your vibration, and stepping into something that feels a lot better. This is about healing. This is about letting go and some strategies to make that shift from the place of I'm in pain to it's time for me to start feeling better. So let's jump into that. There are many ways, many things that you can do. And I talk a lot about healing and how to feel better here. But today I want to really bring it into 3 steps that you can take. And maybe just talking about it in a different way will be the thing that helps to really bring it home for you and help you really grab onto this healing and this moving forward. I want to start by saying that happiness is available to absolutely every person on this earth. Yes, bad things happen. It's part of the human experience. It could be anything, job losses, death, ends of marriages, whatever. Things happen. It's part of the experience. It's how we learn. It's how we discover our strength and our resilience, our fortitude. It's where we learn where we need to learn more and where we need to grow. It's how we learn where we need to heal and what we need to let go of. And it's how we move forward and elevate ourselves and raise ourselves by raising our vibration and the energy that we live from here in this earthly experience of ours. So let's start by talking about number 1, which is really letting go. We talk a lot about letting go of things, but it's still the thing that really holds us back. And because we tend to spend so much time talking about the things that hold us back, the pain, the trauma that we've suffered, the heartache that we feel, what was done to us, what was done by others, the circumstances, how difficult they are. We spend so much time talking about that, reading about that, sharing about that, asking for support with that it becomes everything. So today, I really want to invite you to step away from the pain, to allow yourself to step away from what hurts you, to step away from that conversation about the things that hurt you. So number 1 is shifting your attention away from that you're somehow broken or that your life is broken and shift it towards love. In order for us to really call in this higher energy and this better life and this love that we want. And I'm not even talking about romantic love right now. I'm just talking about that free flow of love in, love out, like just living in that space of knowing you're loved and that you have lots of love to give and that's just flowing without any issues or any brokenness. I really just, as a number 1, want to invite you to shift your attention towards that possibility and that away from that almost acceptance that there's something wrong with you or that you're broken somehow, heartbroken, devastated, traumatized, victimized, abused, whatever the word is. And all of those things might be true. It's not about that. It's just not about, but that happened to me. It's not that. Because as soon as you say that, you're saying, I want to stay there. And I know you don't. So let's just let go. let's just like loosen the grip on that and say, okay, all of those things have happened and I felt that way, but I am ready to shift towards love. I am ready to feel better. I'm ready to allow love to be my guide and not the pain to be my guide. How's that? Is that a little bit easier maybe to grab onto? So that's number one. This is what I want you to embrace as number one. So if you're making notes, write that down. Is to shift your attention away from what is broken or that you're somehow broken and shift it towards love and just the acceptance that that's available to you. And I want to share with you an exercise that falls under this that I share with pretty much all my clients and my members. And, it's just such a big part of what I do with my community. And that is writing a list, okay, of 50 things. Now, I'm going to make it slightly different than I've made it before, because I know I've talked about my list of 50 here before. Instead of 50 things you want, I want you to write down 50 things you love. At least 10 of those have to be about you. And only one of them is allowed to be about your kids. And let me tell you why I say that. We can go on and on about the things that we love about our children and that we love being mothers, for example, right? But then that is not about you. It's one part of you. I love being a mother. I love my children. I love when my children are happy. That's 3 things. I'll let you write down those 3 things. Otherwise, I want 10 to be solely about you. You as a human being, not you as a mother, as a wife, as a partner, as a coworker, as a sister, as a friend. I want at least 10 things to be just things you love about you. It can be things like, I love my smile. I love my sense of humor. I love my ability to jump out of bed in the morning. Anything, okay? 10 things just about you. And then the rest of the list can be just things you love about life. I love flowers. I love summer. I love, you get me here, okay? Just write a list of 50 things. Like really write the list. I promise you that as you're writing it, you'll feel lighter. You will raise your vibration. You will start to feel that heaviness let go, even just a little, and it'll start to come up. Maybe you need to write a list of 50 things every single day. It can be the same things, but you'll notice that your list will change a little. Some things will repeat over and over, and then other things will kind of go away and you'll have new things on it. Even if you write the 50 and then the next few days it's only 10 or 20 things, I don't care. I just want you to focus on things in your life that you love and allow that release, that invitation in of good things. It raises your vibration, it raises your energy. You'll start to notice beauty around you. You'll start to see things that you might not have paid attention to if you didn't have to write down 50 things. Okay? So embrace this exercise and enjoy it. Number 2, let's talk about judgment. In order for us to really embrace a loving life, love abundantly flowing through us, to us, from us in every which way, to raise our vibration, we have to release judgment of others and judgment of yourself. How can we possibly lead a loving life, loving everything around us and allowing love to come to us fully if we are judging others, judging ourselves? So I want to talk to you first about self-judgment. We're pretty hard on ourselves. What is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? I'm never able to do these things. I'm not good at that. I hate my hair. I hate my face. I hate my weight, my body. I don't have any nice clothes. Nothing looks good on me anyway. What's the point of spending any money? Maybe when I lose some weight, I'll buy myself a new pair of jeans. We spend so much time dumping on ourselves, hating ourselves. Maybe hate's a big word, but for some of you, I know that there's a level of self-loathing that happens, a level of this sort of living in this low vibration of trashing ourselves all the time. Every time we look in the mirror, we say something negative. Every time something bad happens, we go, there I go again. It's this constant sort of dumping on yourself instead of loving yourself. It's this judgment of who you are as a human being. And when we're very judgmental of ourselves, we tend to also judge others. We're living in a low vibration. We're emotionally invested in finding fault, in finding flaws. not just with ourselves, but then we end up seeing it in others as well. Oh, well, I'm not the only one who is this, or this. I see that in her or him as well. There's this life of judging others and ourselves when we really have no business judging others. And honestly, you have no business judging yourself. If I think so often we worry so much about judgment of others, like people judging us. And I can tell you right now that that's none of your business. And one of the 4 agreements that I talked about in last week's episode is not to take anything personally. When somebody's being harsh, judgmental, mean, whatever, it's really none of our business. They're obviously having a crap day. They're living in a low vibration, and they're trying to dump it on you. You don't have to receive it. You can just say, this is none of my business. I'm not taking this personally. This is obviously their problem, not mine. Do not judge yourself, and do not judge others. You don't want to live in that low vibration of focusing on the negative. That's really all you're doing in the place of judgment. Imagine yourself being a balloon. Like, just imagine that you are a balloon, okay? And the balloon has been filled with air and has the ability to float up in the sky. Like you've seen all those balloons, people let go of them and up they go, right? Okay, so you are the balloon and there's this string attached to you. And when you're in the place of self-loathing, self-judgment, then your vibration is low and your balloon is tied to something. It feels heavy and is not floating. Like no matter what you do, you can just feel yourself getting pulled down and it just cannot float. As you release judgment, as you live from a place of love instead, as you choose to embrace living from your heart center and living from a place of love and opening your heart chakra to that way of living, you release your balloon and you allow it to float. You allow it to move up, to raise itself, to float free and happily, right? So as you're starting to do this work, you'll feel that tug. You'll feel that, I want to live from a place of love. I want to see beauty. I want to see my own worth. I want to love myself. I want to stop judging myself. Even saying those things will feel, okay, but I'm being held back. I'm feeling that I want to rise, but I'm being held back. We need to loosen the grip, right? So allow this floating upward, this raising of your vibration to come up a little bit. I feel I always have to qualify here because we're very tied to the pain that happened to us in the past. And I know that some of you might be feeling resistance here around, but it's really hard for me because I suffered this particular kind of trauma. And I hear you. And I know that this happened, and I'm not invalidating it at all. On the contrary, I know this happened. But I also know you want to be happy. And if you find that you keep going back to, but this happened to me, so I'm just not able to let go. I can't do that. I'm not able to do that. Is it possible that in the trauma that you've suffered, in the pain that you've suffered, you are judging yourself for having allowed it to happen, for not being able to let go, that you're being hard on yourself, that you somehow don't know how to be yourself without the trauma. It's like it defines you. It's who you are. It's your identity as the victim of this thing that happened to you, whatever that is. Is there something that you feel that you're letting go of that holds value for you? If you were to let go of the trauma and say, I'm ready to be happy. I'm ready to not be a trauma survivor. I'm ready to be someone who just simply is thriving in life. And I'm ready to leave that heartbreak, that whatever behind me. If you're feeling a challenge there, a struggle there, like you just can't you go up and then you get pulled back down. Like your string is still tied. It's loosening, but then it gets tied back down, right? Your balloon wants to pop up, but it keeps going like this. So you might need some help from a coach or a therapist, or you can talk to me. I do all of those things. I'd love to help you loosen that grip. But I want you to know more than anything that it doesn't change what happened to you. It doesn't invalidate what happened to you. But you are not the trauma. The trauma is what happened to you, and it is what you're feeling, but you are not the trauma. That isn't you or who you are. You can choose to be happy, free, loving, and to move up in life and feel better and allow the trauma to be this thing that happened. And you have responded to it. You've done your healing. You've done your work. You have acknowledged it. And now you're ready to not be about that anymore, but to be about something new and something lighter and more beautiful and better and freer and more peaceful and more aligned and higher vibrating than that. So does that feel a little bit easier for you? I hope so. So we're back to the balloon. And so here's how we can start to loosen the grip. When we're feeling that judgment and we want to, like you're saying, okay, yes, Elizabeth, I'm ready. And then something happens. Something, maybe you feel judgment from someone else. Or maybe you see someone doing something that doesn't feel good and you're judging. You're like, there you go again, saying mean things to me or hurting me, or there you go blaming me, or there you go being a person that I don't agree with. This could be, friends, family members, whatever, people in your life, situations. Instead of going to that place of judgment and living in that low vibration, what if you said to yourself, that's interesting, but it's not for me to judge, so I'm just going to let go of it. Does that feel a little easier? Because there's always people around us doing things, or maybe they're being very judgmental and they're sharing it with you. And they're like, what do you think? That's interesting. But I'm not going to make a judgment on that. It's not about me. It's not for me to do, right? It's not my place. So instead, I'm going to choose neutral. I'm just going to choose to stay neutral here. I'm not going to go in judgment one way or the other. I'm just going to be neutral. It is, generally speaking, our desire for our opinion to be heard, and to be heard as being right or wise, or to kind of push forward our agenda in some way. That is our ego talking. That is our desire to control or to feel that you have a place. It's pushing ourselves forward. And it is, again, living from a lower vibration of having to prove ourselves somehow, prove our worth, which you don't have to do if you're living from an amplified, high energy, abundant place. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone because you know your worth, right? So this is what we're working towards. And, I understand that not all of what I'm saying to you is just going to happen tomorrow or today. But I want you to start working towards it. I want you to, when you get into a conversation where somebody starts to gossip about someone else, to just say to yourself, I'm going to remain neutral here. And if they say to you, hey, what do you think? You could say something like, that's interesting. I'm going to choose to be neutral on this. I don't want to jump into that. That feels low energy for me. You don't have to say all that even. You could just simply say, that's interesting. And then say nothing else. You don't have to have an opinion on someone else's life or someone else's choice. I was listening to my neighbor yesterday. That was the wrong word, but I overheard her. She was talking on the phone outside, so I could hear her. And she was really engrossed in that I told you so conversation. I told you, you're just inviting in trouble, and here you go. Now you're in trouble. It was like, oh my God, who wants to talk to someone like that? So judgmental, so I was right, you are wrong. There's nothing supportive, there's nothing comforting. I'm sure that person just wanted to get off the phone as soon as possible. And we've all done it. Like, we have all done it, especially if you're parents. But I'm inviting you to try to live better than that, higher than that, in a higher vibration, to not jump into other people's problems, to not be that person, be the person instead that raises this person. This person has presented you with that, oh my God, I made this choice and it didn't work out. You can either go, I told you, like, hello, like you were stupid, or you could say to them, oh, that's too bad, but I know that you're going to figure this out. Is there something I can do to support you? Is there something I can do to help? I'm sorry that happened. All of those feel lighter, and it's not just for you, for the other person. So be that person. Don't take on everybody else's problems. Don't jump in there and try to control and let them know that you know better. That's judgy. Okay, you don't want them doing it to you, so don't do it to them. So choose to be neutral. It keeps you at ease. It keeps you in a place of peace and flow, and in the vibration of manifesting the life that you want to have, which is one of more ease and flow and peace and happiness and joy and love and all of those things. It keeps you in that vibration instead of in the I'm right vibration. Okay. So I'm going to move on to number 3. We have talked about not judging yourself, not, talking about how not to view yourself in a negative light, like that you're broken. We talked about those now. So how do we move forward? And I want to introduce the concept of, letting, like, really shifting yourself, like the actual action of shifting yourself towards something positive. And I heard from someone, a coach recently, to observe, don't absorb. So that is number 3, is to observe, don't absorb. Observe what's happening. If it's something negative that's making you feel angry or resentful or anything like that, then don't sit in that. Don't allow that to become who you are and absorb that emotion or that sentiment. Shift towards something different. Distraction is actually a key word here. We tend to dump on ourselves and sort of hate ourselves or loathe ourselves or trash ourselves, whatever you want to call it. And we tend to be hard on ourselves. That was, addressed in number 1. And I talked about not judging in number 2, and not ourselves, not others. The thing is, when you're going through something like divorce, for example, and you might be really angry and resentful for things that happened, it's that underlying feeling that's there. And just because we're having this conversation today doesn't mean it's all gone. Maybe I'm giving you some great tools to move you forward, and you start embracing those, and you start to feel your vibration grow. You write your list, you start to let go of thinking of yourself as broken, you start letting go of judgment of yourself and others. And so things are starting to feel better. But then an email comes in, or a phone call, or a text message, and that old anger comes back, and now what are you going to do? And so distract, observe, don't absorb, and distract yourself. Often we get reminded of these negative, these really low vibrational feelings of anger and resentment simply by watching the news or going on social media. Sometimes somebody posts something and it triggers that negative feeling, and we get angry. And when you feel that, it's like, oh, there comes that old feeling again. Make a decision to move away from that. Don't jump back into the blame, back into, the anger and the resentment, because those things shut you down. That umbrella comes right down and gets tied to that whatever again, and it gets stuck down there, and the balloon is no longer floating free in the air. And so do something to shift that whole vibration. Go back and write your list again, or do something creative, something that is in a completely different wavelength. So creativity of any kind, and creativity is not just like art and painting and music. It is anything that you create. It could be baking a cake. It could be drawing a picture. It could be dancing, playing music, going for a walk. It could be working in your garden. It could be writing something. Anything that inspires you, that makes you feel better, that where you're creating some like a better feeling. Right away you move to that higher frequency. You pull yourself away, turn the TV off, turn the news off, stop watching that negative video, stop listening to these negative conversations, and start doing something beautiful, something creative, something peaceful. It has such a ripple effect on your life. It just moves you away from that feeling. And this is not about bypassing the healing. You've done that work, or maybe you are still doing that work, but that doesn't mean you have to live the pain every day. On the contrary, the goal is to move away from the pain or the anger or the resentment. And the only way to do that is honestly through love. It is through living through your heart center, is choosing a loving approach to life and to people around you. That's what's going to move you away from it. Yes, learn to understand it, where it's coming from, and learn to release those feelings and heal from them. But part of the healing is letting go of it. It's moving away from it, not just sitting in it all the time. I've said this over and over again, so I'll stop. But move forward. Allow yourself to feel better. It's like, oh God, I'm so tired of the news dwelling on this pain and this trauma in the world and government and all of these things that can make us feel anxious and angry and agitated. Turn it off and go make a cake, or pull out a drawing set. Who cares if you can draw or not, or whatever. Like that's not the point. It's doing something with your hands that puts you in an entirely different part of your brain in your heart center that allows you to live from a place of beauty. Maybe you just take a blank piece of paper and color the whole thing yellow because yellow is your favorite color. Be creative. Do whatever you need to do to feel better. So number 3 is to observe, to let go. Don't absorb, distract. Okay. So I hope that these tools have been helpful to you today. I hope that you've been able to take something away from this. Now I want to talk to you more about amplified living. I want to tell you a very brief story of the moment that I knew I had jumped to a whole other place after my divorce. I was still in the thick of it. I was still dealing with the legal stuff. I was still dealing with co-parenting issues with my ex. But there was one day I was going off to meet someone I'd never met before, and I was a bit nervous about it, but I just knew in my heart that meeting her was going to be really positive for me, and it was. She was a coach, and she was generously giving me time to sit and talk to her. She wanted to help me, and we worked together for a while, but that first time I met her, even before I met her, it was like I knew that this was going to change my life, which it did. I was walking down the street and I felt like I was floating. I was smiling for no reason. I was just so excited. And I know now, I didn't really understand it fully then, but I know now that the reason I felt that way was because I was literally like jumping timelines. I was jumping up in life inside me, not in some I'm better than you or some superior way, nothing like that. It was just this incredible well of feelings that just raised me. I was floating down the street. So I'd arrived early, and so had she. I didn't know that. She was sitting in the coffee shop. I decided just to walk up and down the street while I was waiting for her, or thought I was waiting for her, and she'd seen me. And when I came in and sat down with her, she goes, I knew it was you when you walked past the store window, or the cafe window. She goes, you had a look about you and a vibration that came off you that was unreal. I just knew it was going to be you that I was meeting today. That's cool. And when I got in my car later, I had such an overwhelming joy in myself, like in my heart center, like I was bursting. You know what it felt like? It felt like I was in love. And so I sent her a text and I said just that. I said, I am sitting here with the most incredible feeling. Thank you for taking this time to talk to me. And I can't wait to work with you more. And I have this insane joy in my chest, kind of like when you're falling in love, I said to her. And I remember her texting me back, and she said, that's called amplified living. You are experiencing amplified living, amplified joy, amplified experience, like everything amplified. And she was so right. It was like joy was just screaming from me. Like love was just emanating from me. It was so incredible. And after feeling that, I made a decision that day. This is how I want to live. Does every single day feel like that? No, of course not. But that is always where I'm heading. And I go there often. And when that feeling comes, I live in it. Like I sit in it. I bask in it. I'm just love being there. And I have so many tools for how to get myself there when I'm not there, to do the steps that I've gone through with you. And I've discovered my own steps, the things that really bring me to that place. And that's the work that I want to do with you in this new course. And so I'm calling it Your Amplified Life. I mean, what else, right? And I want to help to guide you to that place where this is what you feel. This joy, this inner love for yourself and for life, and that all the things that are happening around you are happening around you, but they're not happening to you, and they're not directing your life. You are directing your life. You don't let other people do that anymore. You don't blame people for how they show up in your life. You don't blame people for ruining your life, because it doesn't matter. Nobody gets to have that kind of power of you anymore. Nobody else gets to control the direction of your life, and nobody gets to control how you feel about the life that you are choosing to live, the way you are choosing to show up in this life. You are choosing to show up amplified. You are choosing to be the fullest expression of yourself. That's how you want to live. That you can choose to find joy in every moment, in any moment. That you know how to release judgment when it shows up. You know how to let go of anger when it does show up, because it does. There are days when you just feel like screaming at people, punching walls, and crying for a day, and those things happen. That's okay. because you had to work through that pain. Something happened that really walked into your being and caused pain and discomfort and misalignment. Okay, what can you learn from that moment, and how do you bring yourself back? It's about knowing how to bring yourself back home to you. And that's the journey I want to take with you in your amplified life. It's the journey home to you. And I want you to join me for this experience. Now, let me tell you, this is a brand new course or experience that I'm taking on. Experience is actually a better word, because this isn't about me teaching you and you following and are you passing or failing. This is not that kind of a course. It is a course in life, in love, in amplification. It is a journey, an experience in finding your way back home to you. It is the journey that we go on in Costa Rica, for example, or we go on the weekend here. So whether you've been to my retreats or plan on coming to my retreats or just can't do that, then either way, this is for you, because this is either taking your already journey further or you're getting started on this journey. And I don't want to do this, I want you to do this with others, because there's no question. This is not about you being one-on-one with me. This is about the group, because when one of us raises their vibration, so does everybody else. And then you raise your vibration and so does everybody else. And it's just amazing how we can lift each other. This all came to me over the weekend, and I'm still working out the kinks of exactly how this is going to plan out. So it's going to be called Your Amplified Life. It's going to be an 8-week course. We're going to journey through the chakras. We're going to start with number 1. We're going to start with grounding and rooting yourself in this earth and rediscovering your birthright to be joyful and happy and live this amplified life. That's where we're going to start, and we're going to move through the others as we learn to embrace pleasure and creativity and our masculine and feminine energy, to release the negative ego and to just jump into our passion and take action and love freely without worrying about others and just knowing that our love is flowing both ways freely, and it feels amazing. This is the work that we're going to do. This is really big, and it's not hard. So often we talk about the work. You got to do the work. It's hard. It's not. It doesn't have to be. What if it's easy? What if it just feels so led, so home to you that it's just like, oh my God, this is easy. This is amazing. I want to be here always. That's the experience that you will have in this. So, because this is such an intimate and exciting and amplified experience, I'm only opening the doors for 10 women. I need to start at that place. I need to really make sure that I give you all of my attention, that I really bring this home for you before I make this bigger for more people. So 10 of you first time around, and this is going to be a close group. So I really, here's what I need you to do, because I don't even have a webpage yet. I don't even know exactly what it's going to cost. And I will tell you right now, if that's all that matters, then you might just not be ready for this right now. And this is not because I'm going to charge you thousands of dollars. I'm not going to. I'm just not going to, at least not this time around. It's not about that. It's about you choosing you. The money will seem so insignificant in relation to what you're getting from this. If you can't find that place in you, you just might not be ready yet. If you're feeling like, well, I need to know what it costs, Elizabeth, so I can know if I can do it. Okay, of course. But think of it more as an energy exchange. Yeah, an energy exchange. It's like, I'm going to get this amplified life. I'm going to return home to me and to happiness and to flow and life and purpose and joy and love flowing in and out. And this is, oh my God, I want this. Tell me how much so that I can get started. Tell me how to pay so that I can create this energy exchange of flow so that I can give and receive. Okay, this is how I want you to think of it. Anyhow, I don't even know what it's going to be. I have numbers like $697 in my mind as an early bird. I don't know, we're somewhere in there, but I'm going to get back to you on that. Here's what I want you to do right now, because I want to stop talking and I want you to take action, because I can tell that you're excited. You can tell how excited I am, and I want you to jump into this energy with me right now. So I want you to head over to, it's just a little landing page, theseparationclub.com/amplified-waitlist. Put yourself on the wait list, and as soon as I get all the details worked out, I will send them to you and we can get started. So the people on my wait list will be the first to know. You'll get the first chance to be one of those 10 women who are joining me on this journey. So don't delay, jump on it, get on that wait list. You're not making any commitments, but you're just saying, I'm ready. I am ready to live this amplified life, and I want to be the first to know so I can be one of the first 10 to have this experience, to do this with you, Elizabeth. So I am waiting for you to do this. I will see you on the wait list. You will hear from me when you get on there, and I can't wait to go on this journey with you. So I hope that today has been helpful, heart-opening, exciting. I feel so much right now, even having just talked about this. I am like buzzing. So anyway, I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day, a day of loving yourself, of loving everyone around you. Go and write your list, and please, my email is somewhere in the show notes, or some way to contact me is there. Maybe go on Instagram and tell me, what was your biggest takeaway? What was the thing that just made your heart sing today? And also let me know if you've signed up for the wait list. I will chat with you again next week. I'll be talking to you sooner than that, probably because of the wait list. Thank you for being here. I am forever grateful for you. Thank you for making my heart sing today. Have a beautiful day.